Jesus eat dinner with sinners? Sure he did. Not to become a sinner, not to become like them, but by his example and his preaching while he was there to win them to God. So likewise, Paul had the same sort of thing in mind. So Paul was free to do what he wanted, but bringing people to Jesus was the most important thing to him in using his freedom. From chapter 8, somebody just blurted out here. What was the main theme of chapter 8? It had to do with meat and idols. Christians were free, were they not, to eat meat that was sacrificed to idols? Yes, they were. Yeah, so the idea there, rather than act out of knowledge, which we know idols are nothing, it's better to act out of love. Rather than wound the conscience of the weak Christian and cause him to sin, even though it's not sin to you personally as a Christian, in wounding the conscience of the weaker Christian, you're sinning against Christ, is what it amounts to. So, Paul then could have used his freedom to do that if he wanted to. But what did he say at the end of chapter 8? I'll never eat meat again, if that's what it takes. We kicked some ideas around last week, talking about the lists that people have of the do's and the don'ts. I don't have a healthy view of that concept. Everybody in here has a list of proper and improper behaviors as a Christian. Unfortunately, a lot of those do's and don'ts harken back to the Old Testament. We're not under the old law, folks. We are Christians living under grace. There's a whole host of do's and don'ts. For modern Christians, it shouldn't be about the do's and don'ts. It should be about the who of salvation. You know what I mean? To try to tell somebody to give up some of those do's and don'ts, erase those things from their list, it's a futile thing. They were convinced of it at some time by somebody who was influential in their early childhood. They hold on to it today, even as adult, maturing Christians who should know better. I'm not going to get into all the lists. You know what I'm talking about. Whether it's mowing grass on Sunday, whether it's tithing, keeping the Sabbath, these are Old Testament do's and don'ts. I could get off on that, but I don't want to. Anyway, as Christians, just like Paul, we are free from these things. We are free from the law. Paul at this time is free from the Old Testament law and its obligations, its rules, do's and don'ts. How else was he free? Was he physically imprisoned at this time when he wrote this letter? Nope. Uh-oh. Doubt. He wrote the letter from Ephesus, did he not? I believe that's the understanding I got. But anyway, at this point, he wasn't in chains. Freedom from the old law. How else was he free? Not that being married is cumbersome. However, he was free to come and go, potentially in dangerous situations without worrying about a wife and a family. So in those ways, he was free. He could do pretty much what he wanted to. But did he abuse his freedom? No. Even with all of that freedom as a Christian to do what he wanted religiously, not in prison, free to come and go, he chose to make his life all about ministering for the sake of Christ and winning people to Christ. Some people, it was said, looked at his life as being inconsistent, but not at all. He consistently pursued only one goal, and that was to win people to Jesus. He did things that he didn't have to do. It's like we just read. He became different things to different people depending upon the group that he was ministering to. In Acts 21, for example, over there in verse 23 and 26, or through 26, he participated in Jewish purification ceremonies, which he knew were not necessary for his own life. Over there in Acts 16:3, he had Timothy circumcised. Why did he do that? Because of the Jews.